The geopolitical situation in the world is rapidly heating up. The conflict in Syria is still raging. It exploded almost in the very center of Europe when a full-scale war between Russia and Ukraine began, then erupted in Gaza between Palestinians and Israelis. The Houthis are mercilessly shelling merchant ships in the Red Sea, blocking the Suez Canal. China's carnivorous towards Taiwan. In such a situation, you need to be armed to the teeth. In such a situation, every piece of weaponry matters. The United States has begun a major modernization of the A-10 Thunderbolt attack aircraft. What? The U.S. generals plan to keep going into combat with an airplane that first took off half a century ago, some may exclaim? Yes, they do. And why? We'll tell you in this video. At the same time, we'll reveal one global problem in aviation. So watch this video to the end. It's going to be fun. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, nicknamed Beardstick by the Army, is a twin-engine, single-seat, close air support ground attack aircraft designed to destroy enemy armored vehicles, manpower, and fortified positions. Produced from 1975 to 1984, it was used in Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. It showed its highest efficiency and fantastic survivability. For example, during Operation Desert Storm in 1991, 144 A-10 attack aircraft destroyed 900 tanks, 1,200 artillery systems, and 2,000 units of other equipment, losing only 7 machines, or 1 airplane per 1,350 sorties. There were recorded cases where pilots landed the Beard fighter with a completely failed hydraulic control system with 1 engine running without half of the wing and keel. The aircraft is armed with a 7-barrel 30mm GAU-8A cannon with a rate of fire of 3,900 rounds per minute. It can carry air-to-air, air-to-ground missiles, unguided missile blocks, and bombs, both free-fall and guided on 11 suspension points. In short, armed to the teeth, and at the same time perfectly protected from fire from the ground. On the A-10, the thickness of titanium armor ranges from 13 to 38 millimeters. By comparison, on the Russian Su-25 attack aircraft, it's 10 to 24 millimeters. The only problem is that the A-10 is obsolete, and a modern air defense system will swallow it in no time and will not choke on it. In conditions of weak opposition, as it was in the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, the attack aircraft is very effective, but against a strong enemy, it's no longer in play. The U.S. Air Force has been trying to get rid of the A-10 Warthog for a long time, since the end of the 1991 Gulf War, arguing that it's no longer capable of surviving against a decent air defense system. The A-10's powerful lobby in Congress, as well as the support of Army, veterans, and the public, has allowed the airplane to operate much longer than originally envisioned. For example, one former Marine wrote in support of the airplane, "I've heard the sound of this airplane more than once. It's the sound of rescue. If you hear the sound of that cannon, you are not a target. I love this airplane and hope it lasts another 30 to 40 years, unless they come up with something to replace it, which I highly doubt. Even though I was a Marine, if I met an A-10 pilot somewhere, I'd buy him a beer just to say thanks for saving my butt." American generals had very high hopes for the F-35. It was designed to replace both the F-16 and the A-10 and became a kind of universal airplane. The Pentagon claimed that replacing 2 airplanes with 1 would simplify maintenance, reduce costs, and in general replace the aging A-10 with a new airplane. What does it mean to replace the A-10? It means it'll fulfill its missions and do so at least as well. So the replacement must be adequate, capable of not just mixing the ground with concrete, but doing it qualitatively, to nail all the strangers and leave intact their own. After all, on a battlefield, one zone and another's can be separated by as little as a couple hundred feet. In 2018, a competition was held between 2 aircraft to determine the suitability of the F-35 for the role of the A-10. The tests were conducted in a low to medium threat air defense environment where the aircraft faced light anti-aircraft guns and at worst, man-pads missiles. The test did not include high-threat missions, which would have included enemy fighters and modern air defenses, because it was stated that the A-10 was not designed to operate in such environments, and according to the report, the F-35 is the only aircraft capable of fighting in such conditions at all. The result of this competition were not partially declassified until 5 years later. That's a long time to write a 48-page report, and now it's clear why the 5-year wait was necessary. The F-35 was worse at accomplishing the tasks assigned to the A-10, and that's direct air support, attacking enemy ground forces to support friendly ground forces, So to rush into battle like that, to tear apart the bad guys who are overpowering the good guys and not be afraid that the bad guys might fight back with something like a Stinger, that's not an easy task for the F-35. Yes, it's good, it's not afraid of a lot of things, and it can wave off missiles, but an elementary Soviet ZSU-23-2 for the F-35 is going to hurt, very painful. For something like the Soviet Shilka, we just don't talk about it. It's death. And from an altitude of 8,000 meters where it will not reach, the pilot will not distinguish who's down there. And the F-35 does not have such a wonderful 7-barrel cannon, in a few moments turning an armored target into a sieve. In addition, the Senate and Congress remembered that the cost of an F-35 flight is about $44,000 per hour, while an A-10 flight costs only $19,000 to $20,000 per hour. Therefore, as much as the Pentagon generals did not want to write off the bearded man and replace it with the F-35, common sense prevailed. It was decided not to write off this legendary aircraft and modernize it, and to modernize it on a large scale, up to the replacement of wings. Now, the U.S. Army operates 281 copies of the A-10. The average age of the airplanes is 41 years, so you can imagine how much these wings have endured. But metal, like man, is not immortal. Fatigue accumulates in it due to loads, and as a consequence, cracks appear with all the ensuing consequences. The U.S. Air Force has awarded Boeing a contract to produce new wings for the A-10 Warthog. The new contract means that the entire fleet of 281 attack aircraft will receive new wings, allowing them to fly until the mid-2030s. The new wings, rated for an additional 10,000 flight hours, are being installed by A-10 maintenance specialists at Ogden Air Logistics Complex in Utah and Osan Air Base in South Korea. But the wings, of course, are not the only issue. One of the most important innovations is the introduction of new GBU-39 bombs into the attack aircraft's armament. According to combat aircraft, the aircraft can now carry up to 18 such munitions, which theoretically allows it to hit up to 18 different targets in one combat sortie. As a reminder, the GBU-39 is an American precision-guided aerial bomb that weighs only 130 kilograms. Combined with its small size, this allows aircraft to take many more bombs than before. At the same time, thanks to its high accuracy, the munition can effectively hit different targets despite the relatively low explosive mass of 93 kilograms. In addition to accuracy, the main advantage of GBU-39 is its low observability, which makes it difficult for anti-aircraft missiles to repel a massive strike by such bombs. Several other U.S. Air Force combat aircraft have previously been taught to use such bombs, including the F-15 Strike Eagle fighter bombers. Additional enhancements to the A-10 will include improvements to the Scorpion's helmet-mounted Scorpion system, which will allow for much faster and more effective identification of ground targets. In addition, the upgrades could also address communication systems. The attack aircraft will probably employ a new Link 16 system to share information with other units, which will increase situational awareness to ensure survivability. The cockpit was proposed to have one large display instead of many to make it easier to control the complex aircraft system. Yet, as is easy to see, this upgrade does not improve the aircraft's ability to operate in an area with modern echeloned air defenses. And that's a big problem. As the experience of the most technologically advanced war of the present time, the war between Russia and Ukraine, shows, not even the continuous air defense zone that Ukraine has gives Russian aviation a lot of problems. This can be confirmed by the destruction of 2 or 3 Russian airplanes at a time from ambushes. For example, in December 2023, the Ukrainian military covertly brought to the front line the American Patriot system, which was given to them, and within a few minutes, it shot down 3 Russian Su-34 bomber fighters, which were dropping planting bombs on the Ukrainian army positions from a distance of 40 to 50 kilometers from the front line. Therefore, Russian aviation does not risk entering the zone of action of the Ukrainian air defense and works from afar, firing missiles and dropping guided bombs on Ukrainian troops. But there's no talk of performing the tasks carried out by the attack aviation. As a consequence, we don't hear much about the actions of Russian Su-25 attack aircraft, so there's no air cover for the troops directly on the battlefield. Neither the Russians, nor the Ukrainians, nor the Americans, if they fight against Russia or China. How to solve this problem is unclear. Helicopters and drones cannot fully replace the attack aircraft. Now let's fantasize a bit. What'll happen if, along with the F-16s that are about to appear in the skies of Ukraine, A-10s will be fighting, or Warthogs will appear in the skies over Gaza? In the second case, it would certainly play a very positive role. Palestinian militants have no serious air defense. The Beardwalker could destroy them without causing serious destruction, as it happens now when Israeli aviation in the form of F-16s demolishes entire neighborhoods, which leads to huge casualties among civilians. We think that there are no A-10s over Gaza for one single reason: the unwillingness of the U.S. to interfere in this Arab-Israeli war, and Israel has neither such airplanes nor pilots who can fly them. As for the participation of the A-10 in the Russian-Ukrainian war, the question's debatable. The Russians have a very powerful air defense system consisting of S-300, S-400, Buck, and Panzer air defense systems. Therefore, it's deadly dangerous for a Warthog to approach the front line. But to use GBU-39 guided bombs from a distance of 60 to 100 kilometers is quite possible. To sneak up to the attack line so as to not be detected by Russian locators, soar sharply to 5 to 8 kilometers, drop the bombs, and then return to the airfield again. In any case, we're sure that the fail-safe Beard fighter still has to serve America, and it's too early to scrap the veteran. As one U.S. Army veteran put it, the A-10 Beard Stalker will never retire. He's too good at what he was made for. Every man on Earth wants that angel sitting on his shoulder. Long live the Beardwalker. What do you think about the modernization of the A-10 Thunderbolt and its involvement in ongoing military conflicts? Write about it in your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to not miss new videos about modern weaponry. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.